dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening, I'm Madison Carmouche. Food Corps has programs in more than 250 school districts in the country, teaching kids about growing food. Officials have created a program with Perry County schools to reach rural communities. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more.
Trying to better food education in rural communities. This school year, Food Corps officials launched a new program with Perry County schools to extend into the region.
So the idea behind having Food Corps expand in Kentucky is that we represent their first rural location. So the idea is that we are building this program to meet the needs of a rural community and seeing how that goes.
Food Corps Site Supervisor Kirsten Webb says it has already been a success.
They've only been at this for 3 weeks. You can see that Cyan already has raised beds, she has seedlings, and I think that speaks highly of our members and how dedicated and they have been beautifully proactive and identifying ways that they can be involved.
Food Corps service member Cyan Cox works directly with students in the program, and she says creating better relationships between them and food is what it's all about.
Part of what I've been seeing is just making those connections between like the ground and then what you eat after. You said a lot of kids do have experience with farming, like their loved ones farm, their families farm. But having this kind of ownership, I think, means a lot.
For the kids to have that experience.
Well, I think it can be really transformative because when kids see that they can like plant that little tiny seed and it can actually grow, that's like pretty magical, especially for a kid. And then learning that they can then eat that.
Planting one seed at a time. Cox and Webb say they are excited for the future this program holds. In Perry County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Webb says other school district officials have expressed interest in the program. She says once everything is grown, they hope to use the garden to create a communal space to let students take produce home with them.
We've seen a lot of sunshine across southern and eastern Kentucky on this Sunday, and we've got some very nice weather heading our way for the next few days. Let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. And as we go out to the London Corbin Airport, plenty of sunshine, clear skies, 80 degrees out there, 79 here in downtown Hazard. And as we head out east over into the Big Sandy, Pikeville Medical Center camera showing abundant blue, no clouds, 76. A really nice evening taking place across the mountains. See, satellite and radar not showing any clouds or rain in our area at all. Temperatures generally run in upper 70s to lower 80s. As we take you through the remainder of the evening, we're going to see those thermometers fall down into the 60s and eventually into the 50s overnight. Remember, you can always get the latest forecast on the WYMT First Alert weather app. And be sure to scan that QR code on your screen to download and install it. Great app to keep up with all your local weather. And if we have any severe weather, it'll send you alerts. But no severe weather in the forecast in the short term. In fact, we've got a nice quiet stretch heading our way to start off this first week of October. We'll have more on that in a few minutes, Madison.
Shane, thank you. Some great temperatures next week for Dessert Week that kicks off in the city of Corbin. The second annual Dessert Week kicks off tomorrow. Restaurants on Main Street and Cumberland Falls Highway will offer desserts for $6, and the community members will get to vote on their favorite. Bubby's manager, Michael Shepard, says this week is a way to show people they offer more than a buffet.
We participate in Hamburger Week and Chicken Week, and to do Dessert Week is just something else to let people know that we do a variety of stuff.
Bubby's is hopeful that through more advertising, they will encourage more people to come and try their dessert. We will have more on Dessert Week tonight at 11. Today is October 1st, and that means it is the start of fall fire season in Kentucky, a period in which the risk of forest fires are enhanced. First Alert meteorologist Alexa Minton spoke with Lexington Fire today about the time period and what people can do to prepare.
fall forest fire hazard season officially begins in October, signifying the period in which the state of Kentucky is at higher risk for forest fires. The season is officially from October 1st through December 15th, and the state places a burn restriction for those planning on using controlled burns on their property, warning folks not to burn between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day.
After 6 p.m., it's okay. Go ahead and have your, your fire pit or whatever else you want to have. But during those hours between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., no burning.
For the next 8 weeks, weather conditions are favorable for potential fires, specifically in the hardwood timber region of Kentucky. Fall-like conditions such as mild temps, leaf drops, and low humidity can make our area especially conducive for forest fires. However, thanks to conditions shifting in the overnight, folks are allowed to burn post 6 p.m. and pre-6 a.m., as long as they are within 150 feet of woodland or brushland.
The dew point's a little lower at night. The temperature's a little lower at night, so you don't have those all those different conditions which can contribute to a wildfire or a fire getting out of hand.
October is also National Fire Prevention Month, drawing attention to the importance of safety practices when around flammable materials. Section Chief Roberts also recommended a few tips on how to protect yourself if you must burn during this period.
What you want to do is give yourself around 10 feet of area around wherever you're burning during those hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and give yourself a little more area where it's not going to catch something else on fire right there.
For WKYT, I'm First Alert meteorologist Alexa Minton.
The Division of Forestry is mandated by law to provide organized fire protection, and they are encouraging folks to report fires to the local field branch office that serves your county. October 1st also marks the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Each year, more than 10 million Americans are subjected to domestic violence. Those who are working to change that stat say it's important to raise awareness every day. Greenhouse 17 is the domestic violence program that serves the 17 counties in central Kentucky.
Not to normalize it as if it's okay, but to normalize it in a way that says you have a right to other choices and options, and this is not anything you should be ashamed of. Things happening to you is not your shame or burden to carry, although most survivors feel it is.
Thomas says it's important to continue to raise awareness for domestic violence every day and not just in October. Today, millions of Americans will start repaying on their federal student loans. It comes after a more than 3-year suspension during the pandemic. However, borrowers may qualify for lower monthly payments under the SAVE plan. Some may even have a zero payment depending on how much they make and the size of their family. For the next 12 months, borrowers can also skip payments without facing the financial consequences of defaulting on their loans. Today is President Jimmy Carter's 99th birthday. Carter was the 39th president of the United States. A celebration was held for Carter at the Carter Presidential Center on Saturday, just a day ahead of his big day. This was to avoid any complications if the government were to shut down. A few thousand birthday wishes were sent to Carter's Georgia home. Carter is the longest-lived U.S. president. Just hours before the midnight deadline on Saturday, the president signed the stopgap bill into law. Both the House and the Senate passed the bill after a lot of back and forth and negotiations to avoid a government shutdown. The current solution is short-term, and the president is encouraging both sides to use this 45-day period to find a permanent funding resolution.
We have the strongest economy in the world today, the strongest economy in the world today. We have more to do, but we are the indispensable nation in the world, internationally and domestically, in terms of our economy. Let's act like it. Let's act like it. Stop the games. Get to work. Make sure the American people and our allies and friends around the world know what we're doing. Thank you.
The government will be funded until November 17th, with the stopgap bill being in place. And coming up, COVID-19 may have lasting effects on your heart and brain.
Forecast looking nice and dry as we start the new work week. We'll tell you how long the dry weather will last after the break.